I'm Jamie Kleeman for Green TV, and today we're spending time with David Gottfried, the founder of the United States Green Building Council and the World Green Building Council, and also the author of Explosion Green. David, thanks for joining us today.
Well, it's great to be here.
Thank you. I'm very excited to talk about your new book, Explosion Green, but I want to take a few steps back to your first book, Greed to Green, back when your mantra was more is more. And I want to hear about that journey to the epiphany when you realized that living green and sustainability were going to be your way of life.
Sure, or that less could be more.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's interesting, the way I was raised in Brentwood, California, and country club scene. Dad had airplanes, and my first career as a real estate developer in the go-go 80s. It was all about consumption and also good values, but success you could see either in what you wore, what you drove, what you owned, what you flew in. And with the discovery of green, it brought me more inside that there might be another modality. And also seeing a lot of people who had everything, but maybe not peace or contentment inside, led me to Hermann Hesse and Siddhartha and a different journey.
I was interested when you started the journey and you realized that is what you wanted to do with your life, and you went on and you realized less can be more, and that there is no waste in nature when building. And one of the other mottos that stood out to me was, "To thine own self be true." And I thought that was such an interesting theory, because you really did walk away from some things and take a new path. Did you face much resistance when you changed course?
Tons of resistance, outside and inside. Inside, I grew up with different mantras. That wealth was shown in money, in companies you own, and things like being a millionaire today would be a billionaire. So you always hear not enough, need more, he has more, bigger, better, faster, more. And outside, I quit real estate development, very successful career on a rocket ship path. I think by 30 I had ownership interests in 10 properties all over the DC metropolitan area. I started to embrace building a nonprofit, and I funded USGBC. 10 years later, I funded the World GBC startup. And they're nonprofits, so you don't own the stock. So you're funding them. You get a board of directors to tell you what to do, and you don't own the stock. That's not a very good business proposition.
That's difficult.
So your wealth and value creation and the measure of success is different. And you have to learn that and become comfortable with it.
How do you measure success now?
Different ways. I'm an engineer. I wrote the white paper for LEED 20 years ago. In 2000, I invented the Life Balance Sheet Green Life rating system. And it's 10 categories, less than 60 points. Gottfried doesn't have a green life, 90 on platinum. And so perhaps that framework is a measurement of success. But it's not just eco-footprint, or do you have a hybrid, or are you in a LEED platinum home? Category 1 is health. So is your body toxic? Is your mind toxic? Is your spirit toxic? Do you sleep? Are you stressed out? Category 2 are relationships. Are you lonely? Do you communicate? Do you do ownerships and appreciations? And then it has finance, work. Do you love your work? Are you passionate? Contentment's a category. What's going on inside? If you open that door deep inside late at night, put the flashlight in, and you listen to your voice, can you hear it? What's it saying? So measurement to me is purpose, passion, mission. Do you have a personal strategy? Are you rocking your mission, and are you creating a legacy of purpose and future? And it's all about regeneration of spirit, soul, and earth.
I love that you talk about balance in your life. And I was struck while reading your book about the different outlets you have to achieve this, such as running and biking and modern art. And I'm wondering if those activities still play a role in your life.
Definitely, that's part of balance. Sometimes I get out of balance. Writing a book will get you out of balance.
Yes.
And having kids, as you know,
Yes.
It's harder to hear
Especially
your voice
teenagers.
when they're screaming, or power struggles. But I try to tune in. So we live in the hills in Berkeley, so I became a walker. And for a year, I walked almost every morning at 6 up the hill, even if it was raining. And I don't walk with other people because I want to hear myself. And the nature filters my soul and taps in because I am of nature. We are part of nature. And then the painting became my oxygen. If I had a fight in my marriage, even in midnight when I couldn't sleep, I'd go upstairs and paint. And the bold reds are coming out and the blacks. And I have a whole series of 5 paintings of circles intersecting called yin yang. And I was trying to express myself in a different medium. The texture would get bold, and sometimes even my hands would go into the paint. And once I cut myself and the blood went onto the canvas. And so all those things really help. Writing memoirs is very cathartic. And I need it, or my alpha male gets too strong and my ego goes to bold, capital ego.
No, I agree.
And I try to get it small.
I agree. I believe that writing is an excellent exercise for handling feelings and emotions. It's something I try to do, and I encourage my children to do as well. And speaking of writing, I do want to ask about Explosion Green, your new book, and what you feel are the next steps for the United States Green Building Council and World Green Building Council.
Well, it's so exciting to be here at Greenbuild. There's a sign I took a picture with. It said 20 years, and who would have thought? And I can remember hiring the designer to do the logo. And that was in San Francisco a long time ago. And then the World GBC was launched on a stage in Tokyo as I welcomed the second GBC of the world, Japan. So there's a lot to celebrate. Our statistics and metrics leads in 140 countries. 100 countries have green building councils. We have 30,000 professionals in the game at the GBCs. So lots of celebration, and that's part of Greenbuild. But I'm also a systems engineer, evangelist, and also engineer, and we hate waste. So we can see every day where we need to go and where we are. So we're at, I think it's 397 particles per million. CO2, 350 is the steady state.
Right.
And we're at 7+ billion, headed towards 9 in 2050. That's a problem. Water is my new mantra in crisis. Energy we're attacking, we could do better. But in water, we're draining the aquifers, the rivers. Lake Mead's going down 10 feet a year to fuel Las Vegas. Rain hits our roofs, we don't capture it. The sink water, the bath water is gray water, could be used in the toilet. Our codes don't even allow it.
Okay.
So water's next. I'm studying that, I'm worried. Soil's turning to dirt and we're plowing over it. Concrete and asphalt isn't porous. and so there's millions of green jobs to be had to have dual flush toilets, composting toilets, porous pavers, solar on every roof, rain barrels, and we need to get at it. Love technology. Just behind us are 900 booths of innovation. One of the firms I play with is View, and they have a dynamic electrochromatic glass. You put a computer signal through it, goes from clear to dark. You have smart glass. The reglazing of Earth is $1 trillion business. And all of a sudden, the window can know where the sun is and the cost of the utility at the same time. And we can also, through other sensors, know where the people are. And it's just incredible what we can do. So that gives us hope as well.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, you mentioned 350. We were fortunate to spend time with Bill McKibben of 350.org. And your passions certainly remind me of each other. And when you said there is hope, I get a great sense of hope from both of you. What I love is that you are energizing people, and people of all ages, and showing them that green is not only the right thing to do, it is profitable, and it can be a way of life. So I wanted to end by letting you know that we both share a common love of a movie, Mr. Holland's Opus. And it was funny when I read that you turned to that for inspiration. I'm very inspired by that movie. I am fascinated by individuals who make it their life's work to inspire and educate masses of people. I feel that's what you do. And I wanted to ask the last question, what do you feel will be your greatest opus?
Thanks. You give me chills about the movie because I saw in my mind that ending scene where he thinks he's nothing and all the students from all the years are in the room.
Yeah.
And they're playing the last symphony, and it's a lot. Well, the Green Building Council movement, it's hard to measure, but Paul Hawkins said in the foreword to my books that we've probably done more for climate change mitigation and saving limited resources than any organizations in the world. So it's hard to outdo that.
Hard to top that.
But we only have 100 countries, and best I can tell, there's about 200 countries.
Right.
So we have almost all the industrialized world. But I'd still like to get everywhere. And beyond that, the Earth there's a lot of people on Earth, there's other living things, but I'm studying brain science now because I believe technology has evolved and we created the technology, but I don't think we in our actions have evolved as fast as technology. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to understand why, because we can green every building. All these great designers here can do net zero in their sleep. Right. We can do positive energy buildings, zero water buildings, zero waste. But we can't seem to stop war. We can't seem to stop the ego of wanting more. Mm-hmm. And the human-to-human interactions is what's killing the future. And it's not about technology, it's about our wiring, and it's about the prefrontal cortex, which is where learned intelligence has to override the amygdala. And through plasticity, which 20 years ago we just learned about, we need to create new neurons that navigate in a sustainable way in our relationships, in our relationship with consumption, certainly with ego. And until we really evolve in our brains further, we're going to far surpass 400 particles per million. We're still going to want the Ferraris and big homes and big boats. And we're changing capitalism, but not fast enough for Earth and carrying capacity. And so my next opus is studying the brain, and I'm working with Daniel Amen and Rick Hansen, these people writing about the brain, but they don't know about sustainability. So the next bridge is neuroscience and sustainability.
That's fascinating and exciting because as a mother, I do believe a lot of the mindset, obviously it's everything you're studying, and also I believe that what I see in children, and when you start it at such a young age, it becomes the way of life. And that's what it needs to be. I keep thinking every generation's got to be smarter about this. And so I was excited by Bill McKibben utilizing colleges and these young kids to me, who are excited about the environment and know what's right. Because I do believe sometimes as you get older, ego plays a big part, and your mindset and the way we're wired. So you've given me even more hope for my kids and hopefully my grandchildren, that we will figure out a way that the way we're wired is to be green so that we can be sustainable. So surely that would be the greatest opus I can think of.
Maybe we have a new app, which is a green wiring brain app.
Right.
And it just...
it's interesting, I read a book, and I'll have to think about it and email, but it was about what makes a habit become a way of life. And I believe it was the 10,000 hours rule, but it was just practice, and then your brain actually wraps that memory. and that memory becomes something that just becomes second nature
Sure.
for you. So it's very interesting, reminding me of that. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'm fascinated by what you're doing, and I'm grateful. And we wish you the best of luck with everything, with the USGBC, the World Green Building Council, and of course with your new book.
Sure. Well, thanks so much, and
Thank you.
thanks for your great work over the 16 years and your passion
Thank you so much.
for the message and for people. And I think our message really is to help inspire the younger generation so they can carry the baton and we can let them lead.
Yes.
So you're enabling that. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.